Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for checking back in. For those of you who are new, my name is Dave with everything in between. Today, we're going to be replacing the rear windshield wiper arm, not the actual wiper. We went through a car wash and it ripped the arm off, completely broke it. This is the original one that I took off, or not took off, it that I got from the ground. And as you can see, the back side, right there's the side of it, and it has the bolt right there, or the hole for the bolt to go through. This is the actual part number. I know it's backwards, but I'll put it here on the screen somewhere. This is going to go on our 2014 Ford Explorer, which is the 5th generation. You may also need a tool, and this is a grabber tool. And so what this does is this pushes the stud that comes through the glass. You have the motor on the other side. You don't want to be yanking on this and mess up the stud that comes through the glass, or break the motor on the other side. So that's why they create these tools. If your stuff is rusted on there or just stuck, you can use lubricating spray. We're going to use that, but you're going to maybe use this tool. We'll leave a link down in the description, and this is real cheap, so you may need that tool as well. So anyway, let's get to it and get this changed out. Go ahead and first step is to remove this cap. Pop it off on one side, just on the very end, and then there's two little. Just pop it off, and that will clip onto the new one, which is these little indentions right there. And just spray a couple just in case it's stuck. All right, it is a 1/2 inch, and if you don't have a 1/2 inch, then a 13 millimeter should work. See if you can pull that off without too much stress. All right, so if you're having to move this stud back and forth, then we're going to need the tool. You don't want to mess with that stud and break the motor on the other side. So let's go ahead and get the tool, and we'll show you how to use the tool. All right, you're going to open this tool up. There's two different ways to open it. Go ahead and we'll roll that back, and then we'll open the teeth. All right, and then you're going to put the teeth on the back side of the old arm and tighten it in, and make sure it is center of that stud right there. And then just rotate it, and the middle part will push the stud in and pull the arm housing, or the arm, out. There it goes, popped off. See all that oxidation? So you're gonna have to get a wire brush. We're gonna go get a wire brush real quick, and all these little teeth right here, we need to clean them all up and slide the new one on. See if you try to do that. All right, so just get your little wire brush and just rub those little teeth out, get all that oxidation from those teeth, so the new one can slide on and it doesn't strip any of those teeth. You can also use a battery terminal, little battery terminal cleaners, and use something like that, anything that has a wire brush. Yeah, they're looking nice and clean. Hopefully. All right, we're going to take the blade off of the old arm, Just get your fingers in there. Dang, I messed my clear coat up. And just pop it off. Then we're gonna put it on the new one. Pop it in. All right, so when you put it back on, remember the orientation. Like ours was fully broken off. So some actually start on the driver's side and they go to the driver's side. This one actually starts on the passenger side and goes to the driver's side. So don't forget your orientation of where it goes. And slide it back onto the stud. Yeah, it should be right there. Put your nut back on and there is torque settings. So we'll I believe there's torque settings. If there's torque settings, I'll put them on the screen on the screen there. We're gonna do ours between what'd you set it at? 20? We set it at 20 foot-pounds. Should be good enough. 15 to 20 foot-pounds. Yeah, that's 15? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Unless you want to go 20, but it was at 15. 15.7. That should be good, 18. That should be good. Let's go ahead and turn it on and wipe it. And let's see how it goes. There you go. Perfect. Looks good. Put some water. Looks good. All right, now we're going to put the old cap. And we'll just pop it back on. That's it. That's it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was a pretty easy install. Probably take you 10 minutes, if that, if you know what you're doing. So before we let you go, I did want to show you the old one. This is the old arm. Of course, this is broken, right? This is the piece that flew off from the car wash. And this is the piece that stayed on. It has the bolt or the stud that went through there. So let me explain why we added a couple more foot-pounds. So when you, I gotta stop saying so. When you get your new arm, if you look inside this cone shape, now you can see it's a cone shape, right? It starts off narrow from the inside and it goes wide, right? You see that, and here's the other side, right? So that's the narrow end, and it cones out to the back side. When you look in there, and let me get you a close-up, and you can probably see all those little grooves right there, right? You see that on the inside? When you get the new one, it's going to have a smooth, the metal on the inside is going to be smooth. What creates these grooves is the splines on the stud coming out the glass that you put this onto. That metal is harder than this metal. This is a softer metal, but it's strong enough to, to move a wiper blade, right? Left and right. And the reason why I just wanted to add a couple more foot-pounds is because just think of these simulated cones, right? So this is the cone, the stud coming out of the glass, and this part is actually this right here going onto the stud. And so what happens is you're going to put these together, and eventually they're going to stop, right? And so that's where, when we put the nut on and we did the wrench, it stopped at that point, and then we use the torque wrench to go 15 to 17 foot-pounds. And the tighter you go inside, the splines from the part that's coming out of the glass, the stud, it drives into the softer metal, and it will eventually create those little grooves that we'll sit into. And the reason I mentioned that is because, and this, my son pointed this out, and when I very first saw it when we bought it, I was like, well, that's smooth. Like there's no grooves in there, right? And I didn't pay no mind to it. And then he was like, my son was bringing it up, like, well, those splines actually get pushed in here and it creates the grooves, which makes sense. That way, there's no grooves initially inside this cone, and you put it on wrong and you tighten it down, and then you just strip it automatically. That's why I wanted to add a couple more foot-pounds so it can push this stud more into that cone, just to give it a little bit better grip, right? So I probably over explained that, but hopefully you understand that. So when you see yours and it's smooth, don't worry. As long as you clean it, make sure you clean it real good. Clean those splines out. That way it has a good, nice, tight fit when it creates these in here. So all that to say is, once you put this sucker on, be careful, because you're going to start creating grooves in here. So you don't want to make a mistake and put it the wrong way, right? You put it on the driver's side and it goes the other way, because if you take it off and you put it back on and tighten it down, you may create new grooves in there that will then eventually probably strip this out a lot quicker than you want. All right, the puller tool. This was a great tool to have. We'll link both of these, or whatever that we used. We'll link them down in the description in case you may need it. This was a tool that I think was worth having. My son works in an auto parts store, and he deals with changing out batteries a lot. And so a lot of them he has to, pry off a lot of terminals, because people way over tighten the battery terminals on the post of the batteries. And I'm going to give this to him so that this can be in his tool bag, and he can use this to, he don't have to stress anymore, use screwdrivers, use any other tools, because they don't have any there. And so you can use this to pull your terminals off of the posts of your battery if they're stuck. And that is it. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. I know this last part was a little bit over explained, but hopefully it was helpful and gives you another perspective of this, because I've seen videos and they don't quite tell you that that spline creates new grooves, or creates grooves in your new piece that you put onto. So be careful and don't put it backwards, because you may regret it and strip them out. Anyway, hopefully this video helped you out. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you did not like it, let me know as always by giving it a thumbs up. And share the video if you think it'll help somebody. And we'll talk to you next time. Until then, hope you're having a good day doing whatever it is you do. We'll talk to you next time. And until then, peace. Did I just say that 2 times in a row?